cage,
Right.
and then you have all this electronics, and you have the battery. And then the longer you drive, the worse the exposure gets. And then you have this cross amplification if you're also on your phone,
Right.
or if you have a passenger, maybe two, that are also on their phone. So then you have suddenly a real rough EMF soup. It's an EMF goulash at that point, I think. And then, what do you do, right?
Right.
And then the worst scenario is when you charge your batteries. I think people intuitively already leave the car when they charge the battery,
Oh,
but
but a
if
lot don't.
someone
Yeah.
doesn't do that, like, get out of there.
Yeah.
I mean, you can use our tech. So our tech has been shown to neutralize all of those negative effects, and even in electric cars. The Base Institute tested all the different organ functions, tested a really bad deregulation when they got an electric car and in all these stress situations.
What if aging isn't about slowing down, but leveling up? I'm Dr. Isaac Jones. This is the Longevity Leaders Podcast.
Welcome. I'm Dr. Ashley Beckman here with Longevity Leaders Podcast. And I'm really excited today because we have Philipp from Leela Quantum. And I'm a big fan of your products, so I'm really excited to have you here so we can get a little bit into the science and how they actually work.
Sounds great. Thanks so much for having me.
Of course. So one thing that I've noticed a lot, so a bunch of my clients, I work in mold exposure a lot. That's the majority of my clients, and Lyme. So there are a lot of connections and things with EMF sensitivity. And we're seeing this more and more with people that have electric cars. And just, again, if you live in a city, there are a lot of exposures that we didn't even have 5 or 10 years ago. Can you go into a little bit about how your technology works first, and if this is about shielding yourself or blocking EMF, or how it works exactly?
So our technology works straight on the biofield. It strengthens the human biofield and any biofield, frankly. Plant has a biofield as well. Pets have a biofield. We have significantly positive results with pets, by the way, also. And that's how it works. And then it improves from there the general body functions, and all backed by over 40 placebo-controlled trials. And I'm going to come to the EMF topic, but I'm not starting with that because EMF is really just 5 or 10% of what our technology is capable of. It can improve your cellular function up to wound healing, ATP production increase. It can help with blood improvement, white blood cell activity, motility, red blood cell declotting, for example, parasitic load in the blood, things like that. It can help with the HRV, so with the nervous system. It can help with the brain significantly. It can de-stress your brain. And it has a lot of other positive effects that you can measure in regards to food sensitivities and things like that. And it can structure water, right? So those are just some of the basic things that the technology can do. And then it so happens that with our technology, we can neutralize the negative effects of electromagnetic fields as well, very effectively and in a very modern way. Because the big question is, okay, so how are we going to tear down the 5G towers so that we don't have to live in this EMF soup? The answer is we can't and we won't, right? They will be there, and we'll have 6G and 7G towers there at some point, unless we develop like quantum phones, right? That work via the quantum field. But I think that may take still another 100 years, maybe. So our technology can harmonize electromagnetic fields. It doesn't block it. We can't block it with our EMF clothing because that literally blocks over 99% of electromagnetic fields. But the harmonizing works in a way that the quantum field is below subatomic, you can say. And it has a vibration that it sends out into all directions. And if you have frequencies that are harmful, like 5G waves, for example, or other microwaves, then the analogy is if you were to hit me in the face, it hurts. If you give me an acupressure on the neck, it's beneficial to me. That's pretty much what happens. So the 5G without the quantum energy around, it's not beneficial to your body, right? Actually, it really stresses you out completely. You can see it in your blood, in your heart rate, in your brain, etc. And then obviously we know the long-term results, right? up to the cancer situation, right, and other things. So with our technology, it harmonizes these. Then you can have them around, but they don't bother you. That's pretty much how it works. And it's not, for us, it's not just a claim. I know that there's a lot of quantum stuff out there. We always laugh and say that's like the quantum cornflakes types of things. But our stuff really works, and we have over 40 placebo-controlled trials. And we even invite people and doctors also to studies. We're never afraid to get tested because that stuff really works.
And that's what's really fascinating, I think, is I was just listening to you speak and seeing some of your slides and presentation on the studies. And there were a few things that were, well, more than a few that were very interesting, but the live blood cell analysis to see all of the kind of like there's a really tightly stacked red blood cells. And then once you were wearing, I think it was this, where they were exposed, or what was the trial using?
So in that case, it was one of our blocks.
Yeah.
In that study was actually our weakest block. So the stronger block works even better and even faster, right? But we have done these tests also with the capsules. So all of these products have positive effects, but then the blocks go further and they work faster. Yeah.
How does one use the block? Is it just by proximity? I mean, I know you can also add, because I go to a place that infuses and charges the smoothies in the blocks, right?
Yeah.
And you can charge supplements and things,
Yep.
probably jewelry, something that holds energy.
Yep. Anything. You can infuse anything with quantum energy. And if you infuse jewelry, for example, it increases the vibration of those, metals or your watch or whatever. If you have silverware, that's a good test. You put it in, and after that, the vibration will have significantly increased. And even if people cannot perceive energy, they will tell you, oh my God, it's so much more beautiful here. And they won't be able to tell you like why that is.
Right.
But there are people, including myself, that can see energy or perceive energy fields, and you can actually notice the vibrational difference. A lot of people, they don't really see it, but they can feel it, right? So you feel one that's charged in one hand, the other one the other, and it just feels different. So that's what you can do. Then with water and with foods, if you put them in, you also infuse them, but it has still the same effect, but it's different because it's sort of the water and the food itself that gets infused with quantum energy. And then when you consume these foods, suddenly they're more bioavailable and they're basically better to consume. So there have been 2 pilot studies that were done in Germany in regards to food sensitivities, and they showed a 55 to 85% reduction in stress response. And they tested things like lactose, gluten sensitivities, sugar.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Sugar always leads to a stress response. So if you can reduce that by 70, 80%, I mean, how great is that,
Well, and it's amazing too, because you're charging these foods that have their vital chi already, but then just exponentially balancing them for your system.
If you're a medical doctor, nurse practitioner, chiropractor, or other health expert that's stuck in a broken system, there's a better way. The Freedom webinar shows you a proven 5-step system to build a 7-figure virtual health practice, or how to modernize your current brick and mortar practice without the burnout. Learn to create high-ticket programs, automated income, residual revenue, and attract clients ready to work with you. Book your $1 million strategy session today by clicking the link in the description.
Yeah, and that's one of those struggles. I mean, struggles in quotation marks that we have, right? That most people out there don't yet understand that they are energy and frequency to begin with, and that there is even something like energy, because the world we come from is so dense, and the narrative is always just about the physical. That doesn't change the fact, though, that we are energy and frequency at core, and more people are waking up to that. and you can start feeling that. And
Yeah.
right, and so we have a solution for that. And that's the only reason why it also works, because it exists.
Yes.
And that's why we can prove it all the time. Like any time of the day, we can prove that our technology works, and not just every now and then, in 100% of the cases. And so then we come to the next use case of these blocks, right? That's just putting them in your home and do nothing with it. And it just harmonizes your whole space because it has a large radius. So it takes care of the electromagnetic fields at home. Then you can put your hands inside, or your feet, or, even your head, whatever you want, and you can have greater effects. So if people, have arthritis, for example, they would use that on a regular basis. If you want to kickstart your, own recovery, for example, that's where you would use it for as well. And those are pretty much the use cases for the blocks.
So they work even just within the space. What is that circumference that they encompass?
I would say
Roughly.
every regular home will be covered fully by any of our blocks except the quantum block. The quantum block, that's the weakest device, and it's specifically for copying frequencies. And some people that have to use pharmaceuticals and they know about what our technology does, they would like to charge also their pharmaceuticals with quantum energy, so to lessen the negative effects. And for that, we don't recommend that with any block except with the quantum block, because that's weak enough but strong enough to have a positive effect, but also not to alter the medication or the substance you put in. Because if you, for example, if you took a stronger block and then you put your vitamin C inside, it'll be stronger, and you will need less of that. So we have a lot of clinics that use our technology, and they test their patients and for certain supplements, and then they test them once the supplements are put in, and they need less.
I love that.
Usually,
Yeah.
and if they need the same result, then usually they just need it more because the efficacy is higher. That's usually what we find.
And that's the thing is, a lot of clients are going through supplement fatigue. They're on so many things. And so if you have things where we can harmonize your biofield, again, you're harmonizing so that the things you do take are more effective. And then especially if you're charging them, it's exponentially better.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you spoke about this a tiny bit, but quantum entanglement. Right?
Yes.
This is something that I love and really resonate with. And again, it's something when you have clients that are EMF sensitive, I'll just say they're also very sensitive in crowds. And I think they're not always aware of, our energy, how far it goes out, and that everyone is in it. And then there's this concept of quantum entanglement. Do you want to go into that a little bit?
Sure. So, quantum entanglement is still something that most people can't even imagine that this works. But, just a reminder, in 2022, the Nobel Prize for Physics was awarded for work on quantum entanglement.
Yeah.
So it's not a new
So out there,
concept, and it's actually an ancient concept. And we've been able to take it to a new level, though. So we have built a company called Quantum Upgrade. And since 2022, we've been offering this subscription service where you can sign up yourself or your home or your business or your pet or your car, and you get a customized quantum field, which is over distance. So literally, you don't have to have a physical device for that. You are in the field. The moment you sign up, it takes up to 5 minutes, and then you are in the field. And then you can book in specific frequencies. You can change the energy levels to higher, to lower. You could even pause it at any time, however you want to do it. And all you need is a browser for that. So, any phone, any smartphone, any laptop, to just change the settings. And it's like your Netflix subscription. So it's easy to sign up. And then if you want to change the program or the movie you want to watch, you just change it there, right? And that's pretty much the same thing. You could change it from a Olympic performance frequency to a brain support frequency, or to a calm and rest frequency, or a prosperity frequency. All these different things are available to you. and it's very, very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't charge actual objects with
Right.
it, right? So you could not put your silverware in there
Right.
or structure your water. But for your own biofield, it's pretty much as powerful and as flexible as it gets. And everyone, by the way, can try it for free.
Oh,
And maybe
cool.
I do this here now for your listeners.
Yeah.
So with the code Philipp15, and that's Philip with 1L and 2P,
Okay.
15, you get 15 days for free, and you don't even have to provide a credit card.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone should try that.
QuantumUpgrade.io is that, by the way.
Okay. So how did you get into this?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I used to be in telco. So I was a vice president at T-Mobile for several years, international, and then at T-Mobile US as well. And that was how I learned about electromagnetic fields, obviously. Then in parallel, already in the early 2000s, I got really into meditation and into yoga and learned what's possible with energy healing techniques.
Yes.
I myself got trained in shamanic healing practices and past life regression work and things like that. And then the last thing happened that my ex-wife, she got diagnosed with chronic Lyme disease in 2010. And that was sort of the spark for me to figure out, wow, that's really my passion, to help people, with this and to find new modalities that actually work.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much where I then went in. And then I got all in 2016, 17. And then in 2019, I launched Leela Quantum Tech. And then in 22, Quantum Upgrade. That's pretty much the
trajectory.
the red line. Yeah, exactly.
So that's interesting. So as somebody who, again, a lot of us get into whatever we're passionate about from something personal. So a lot of my clients have mold and Lyme, myself as well. So some of these products were to help with Lyme
So
indirectly, I guess.
So yeah, I need to be really careful with medical claims.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Obviously, no, it's okay, and we'll get to that point though. So just in general, like if someone has a block, for example, you increase the vibration significantly. And so what parasites and Lyme and so on don't like is if the vibration is positive and
they
high,
don't like
because
it.
it's an environment they don't like at all. So just by that, they start to degenerate, they start to have a harder time, and everything else you're doing in order to combat them will be much more effective.
Right.
Right? It's as if you're fighting an enemy in the dark that can see. But now if you can also see, you have an advantage, right? So that may be an analogy that people can relate to. But then with the quantum upgrade, we specifically also have developed the frequency for Lyme. We have not publicly launched it yet. It's available currently only in beta testing, but we already know what it does. It's also already complete. And there's a study in Pennsylvania that just started a couple of days ago, specifically with Lyme disease patients.
Amazing. Yeah, you had showed some slides with parasites, right? So you have done testing to show that how this is helpful with that as well.
So that was the Besa Institute in Austria, and they ran multiple randomized double-blind trials in regards to live blood analysis with our technology. And usually they look just at, red blood cell declotting. They found significant declotting, right? Even a reversal of stage 2 of blood clotting within 10 minutes, activation of white blood cell activity and all of that. But then they also found, in one study I read, they found someone that had an 80% reduction in parasitic load in 15 minutes. And I was like, that's really interesting. And so what about these other ones? And then, 80%, I think that's as good as it gets, right? That's probably the absolute best case scenario in 15 minutes, right? That's probably really an outlier. But I said, could we run a specific study regarding that? And so they did that. Also was with a control group, randomized double blind. And they found, I think it was a roughly 40% reduction in parasitic load and in a lot of other areas in regards to the positive environment of the blood. The blood so much improved that parasites had such a hard time to thrive in there.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it was a 6-month study. And so that was a significant improvement across the board, while the control group got worse in these 6 months. That's very important to know,
Yeah.
right? So the lift was actually even higher over the control group.
More different, or like a bigger span.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, I always am looking for things where we're not having to take more supplements. And again, a lot of people react now.
Yeah.
Everyone's becoming more and more sensitive as the complexity of cases is just growing.
Yeah.
And so when there are things that we can implement that are easy to either wear or have near you,
Yeah.
it's really wonderful.
Yeah, I would say this is like your general thing, to optimize your energy levels and to protect your biofield, because our biofield is under attack. There's no doubt about it. And since it helps with your body functions in general, and also with absorption and all of those things, and bioavailability even of supplements, right? So then everything else you're doing works even better. And we also don't tell people, for example, when we talk about the parasitic load study, right? I never tell people, just do this and don't do your regular parasite cleanse. I think it's great. Do your regular parasite cleanse, but you'll start at a better point if you do this, and it'll be done faster and it'll be more effective. And that's how I look at it.
And you had mentioned a bit about HRV, right? So a lot of the things that we see are dysregulated nervous systems. Everyone's extremely stressed. And there's a big talk about how you just need to do nervous system work and it solves everything, right? Which is, to me, not the full picture, because there are a lot of toxins and things that need to be addressed. But it's a big piece. So how does that fit in? Because I think you've done a lot of studies on HRV as well.
Yeah. I mean, the nervous system reacts to a lot of stress factors, right? And a lot of the unseen, stress factors. And we've seen significant improvements in HRV. So the recent brain studies that were done, they also always measured the HRV during that time. And so they had a baseline in a completely electro-smog-free environment. Then they exposed people to a 5G phone, a 5G phone call actually, with an iPhone 15 or 16 right next to their ear. And obviously the brain, got almost fried. It's terrible to see. And the HRV got destroyed as well. And then you see our technology come on, and you see that the HRV significantly improves, and you see that the brain completely de-stresses, and even the alpha activity in the limbic system, we were able to increase it by 13x, right?
Wow.
I mean, that's massive. So that is what we see. Then there was another study done by the EGIF Institute with this capsule. That study was done already a few years ago. And it also showed significant improvements in HRV with every participant that was impacted by electromagnetic fields. And then they kept the electromagnetic fields active. They wore the capsule, and it improved. And then they even tested it over a few days. I think they tested it instantly within 10, 15 minutes. There was an improvement. Then after a day, the improvement was even bigger. And after 2 days, the improvement was even bigger. So not wearing it at night, though.
Right.
Yeah.
So one last thing I wanted to ask about, since it's a big issue for a lot of people, are the electric cars.
Yes.
And what have you seen, and what do you have to help people when they own one and are in it?
So I would say everyone that claims that there are no electromagnetic field issues in electric cars is either a liar, ignorant, or just doesn't know it yet, right? So better do your research, because people develop chronic migraines from that and other health issues. I don't even want to know the long-term results of having an electric car. Even if I am in an Uber that comes and it's an electric car, I mean, I make sure to really amp up my quantum upgrade, for example. So the exposure is way higher in electric cars than just in the usual settings, because you're almost in a cage,
Right.
And then you have all this electronics, and you have the battery. And then the longer you drive, the worse the exposure gets. And then you have this cross amplification if you're also on your phone,
Right.
or if you have a passenger, maybe two, that are also on their phone. So then you have suddenly a real rough EMF soup. It's an EMF goulash at that point, I think. And then, what do you do, right?
Right.
And then the worst scenario is when you charge your batteries. I think people intuitively already leave the car when they charge the battery,
Oh,
but
but a
if
lot don't.
someone
Yeah.
doesn't do that, like, get out of there.
Yeah.
I mean, you can use our tech. So our tech has been shown to neutralize all of those negative effects, and even in electric cars. The Base Institute tested all the different organ functions, tested a really bad deregulation when they got an electric car and in all these stress situations. And then with our technology, it was able to get into completely green state, so in completely regulated state for each of the organs. So that's quite positive and helpful, and it would help you also in an airplane, by the way, because in
Yes,
an
there's
airplane
so
you have
much.
high exposure as well.
Yep. Very much so.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. And I think it's just really important because, a lot of people feel helpless to the things like this that are around them, that it just seems like we can't escape. But we have tools to help. So
That's
thank you so
correct.
much for studying this and doing the studies really so we can see this, because a lot of things are out there, but that's really the big difference.
Thank you.
Sure.
Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Thanks for listening to the Longevity Leaders podcast. Our Longevity Leaders community is on mission to transform 100 million lives by 2040. If you enjoyed this show, please share this with somebody that you know, especially another doctor or physician, but also click that follow button. Until next time, stay strong and live long.